All right, welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you sticking with us. This is episode 12. This week's overview is going to be on B2B sponsorships. We'll jump right into recapping Dover, talk about who stood out, see where Spencer has us on Drop the Green Bets. Are we up? Are we down? Do some Kansas predictions, and we'll close with some stupid questions. My name's Austin.
My name's Spencer.
Let's drop the green.
It's been a long time gone since the truth's been told, and I've seen my head cut us low. Come on, save my soul with a bar guitar and a honky-tonk crowd.
All right, welcome back, everybody. There is nothing like that warm whiskey every time.
Yeah, no, that one hurt a
I
lot
don't know
more than
what,
normal.
which one was that?
Shout out to my neighbor for this right here.
Okay.
If you can't see it, it's supposed to taste like George Dickel, and the first time it did, that time it did not. So I don't know.
I think we're probably gonna have a little bit of a short episode. So if you don't mind, can you tell the story about your whiskey shelf?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that the same neighbor, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think you got to say it.
So Devin, a guy we know, when I was working construction earlier this year, my girlfriend wanted a shelf built to put her books on. And I was talking to Devin, and I was like, hey, man, we kind of want a corner shelf. Think you can help me? And he was like, yeah, man, we'll get it built. So we got it built, and my pretty much only job was to sand it and stain it. That was it. He pretty much did everything else with measurements. I was there nailing it together, but I didn't do anything. So I got it home, put it in the corner, and it sat there for about 2 months. Didn't touch it.
Not stained.
Yeah, not stained. And so I was like, finally, one Saturday or after work one day, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it today. So I took it outside and sanding it down. And my neighbor comes out with his dog, and we live in like a townhouse, so he literally walks out his back patio, and I'm just right there sanding. And he's cool. I've talked to him before, but he goes, "Nice whiskey shelf." And once someone says it's a whiskey shelf, he couldn't. I don't know. Just in me, I couldn't go. Nah,
it's for books.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. So I was like, yeah, dude. Yeah, it's a really nice shelf. And he goes, what do you like to drink? And I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I like beer, And so the first thing that came to mind, because I've had it from you, was George Dickel, because I was like, dude, I can't say like Jack or Jim Beam.
Yeah,
or,
it got to be a little obscure.
Yeah, it's got to be something that like you're not getting everywhere. And he goes, oh, that's cool, man. And we kind of chit-chatting about other things. And I got the shelf stain, put it back in, and my girlfriend was back out reading on the patio the other night. And she pops her head in the door and goes, Spencer, come out here. The neighbor wants to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I go out there, and he handed me that bottle and said it tasted exactly like George Dickel, and he did not want it.
Yeah.
So he gave it to me to try, and literally I saw him the other day, and he asked me how it was. I said it was damn good.
That's hilarious. God, that's so funny. That just cracks me up. Because now it'll forever be the whiskey shelf.
It will. It will.
Yeah.
I was like, is it able to hold whiskey? Like, is the bottle too tall?
Right.
It's a perfect size.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this guy knew. He saw it a mile away.
Yeah, he knew.
Wow. What a connoisseur. Well, I appreciate him for at least keeping our tradition up.
He is.
But, let's jump right into it. Episode 12. Who is your episode 12, Spencer?
My episode 12 this week is Ryan Blaney.
Okay.
Ryan Blaney, Cup champion. I wrote down a couple of things. I tried to go a little bit more obscure. I wrote down some stats, of course, but as you probably know, he's a third-generation race car driver.
Mm-hmm.
Dave
Blaney, yeah.
Dave Blaney was his dad, racing the Cup Series.
The Buckeye Bullet.
Is that what he was called?
Yeah. Well, he's a sprint car legend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know they're from Ohio, so that would be why it's the
He
Buckeye.
never really got a good break in NASCAR, but, I mean, absolute sprint car legend.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
so
really,
in
yeah,
the 410s?
Yeah, in the 410s. Yeah, like I think.
Does he
he's-
race in the high limit or anything
No,
else?
I mean he's pretty old now. I think at the last race he's done was maybe a year or two ago. He actually won a feature not that long ago either.
That's cool.
But his uncle too was a sprint car racer and a professional basketball player. Played for the Lakers. Yeah.
Was he
And
tall?
then- yeah, he was tall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then but no, Dave Blaney. I think I was for some reason I was looking at the World of Outlaws all-time wins list the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and Dave Blaney I swear is like top 10
Whoa.
in all-time wins. And I
That's-
mean he was
that's
big in the
cool.
All-Star circuit too, and then regional stuff. But to be like top 10 on the World of Outlaws list is insane.
Yeah, isn't it kind of crazy how sometimes it doesn't transform or
No, it
transpire
doesn't
into these
translate.
cars?
Yeah, exactly.
to
Yeah,
these cars at all.
It's so weird. I mean, and even like I could show you that top 10 list, and just since you're not like a big sprint car
Mhm.
guy, you probably like, who is that?
Yeah.
But they're legends
Yeah.
at what they do. I mean, to drive a 410 sprint car.
Same thing like when Denny gets in one of those cars, he's just not as good.
Yeah.
You know, he's
I
just
mean, like he
not.
would have no idea.
Yeah, yeah. But
Mm.
so he's a third generation racer. And I wrote down a couple cool stats. Of course, he just won his first championship last year, coming off fresh. If I know anything about this podcast, he's a future Hall of Famer, apparently.
He will be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
He will be.
there you go. Watered down. But that's no knock on Blaney. Maybe he can turn
Yeah.
it around. But to me right now, just because he has a championship doesn't mean he's a Hall of Famer. But anyway, so the past 7 years, including 2023, so 2023 back 7 years, he's finished top 10 in points. So literally,
That's pretty impressive.
that is pretty
That's pretty
impressive.
impressive.
And I didn't realize that until I was looking. So his last year in the Wood Brothers car would have been 2017.
Yep.
He finished 10th in points that year in that car. Won a race in that car.
Yep. Beat Kevin
Yeah,
at Pocono.
at Pocono.
Yep.
Was that the last time that the 21's been to Victory Lane?
That's the last time. So that, funny enough, last time they've been in Victory Lane, it was their 99th team win.
Whoa!
So they've been chasing 100. Chasing.
Since
They're not going to
20
get since 2017.
unless
They're
they
not
get
gonna
Harrison
it.
Burton out of there.
Yeah, they got to get Harrison Burton out of there.
They
but
almost
yeah.
had it with
Matty
but
D.
yeah, Matty D
'cause
at
he
Bristol.
finished- well, he was with Levine then,
Mm-hmm.
but he lost Talladega in the 21 by like 6 inches.
Yep.
And that would have been their 100th.
Mhm.
But
That's crazy. So that was kind of cool, even though that's not really the number 12. He was in the 21. But
if you're dyslexic,
yeah, if you are. But he's a really good super speedway guy. I
He
mean,
is.
he's always up
He
there. He took that 21 car several times to several top fives. And then 2018, he gets the ride with Penske, and he wins the Roval in that first season. So I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. Granted, it was. I think that was the first time we had went to the Roval.
yeah, if you remember, that's when Jimmy and Truex wrecked, and
Yep.
he was running third.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So really good, consistent guy. To me, he's one of those guys that definitely has like a better personality. Definitely, to me,
For
way more
sure.
relatable.
He's just a dude.
He is a dude. And if I think it's, to me, this is completely my opinion, that if Roger wouldn't be so uptight, or their PR system, I think he could be one of them. I mean, I guarantee he's probably up there in top 5 most popular drivers, but he could be, because right now he's outperforming Chase. He's better than him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
more relevant. So
And he's got a better personality. He's more willing to do things.
yeah,
There's this old interview. This is obviously when he was with the Wood Brothers. Now, he
Mhm.
was still kind of Penske contracted, but it's like a little gray area, right? Where
Yes.
if you're with them, you don't have to be as tight. And he
Mhm.
had the long hair and everything. And they said, what do you do to prepare for the Coke 600? You know, such a long race. What do you do that week? He's like, I drink less beer. That's about it.
yeah,
But, like, he's just one of those guys.
Yeah.
Really good taste in music.
mm-hmm.
You know, he has a dog named Sturgill.
yep.
So,
I
like,
saw it. Yeah.
he's just like, he's a big Tyler Childers fan, big Whiskey Myers fan, who does our
Yeah, I know.
intro.
Shout out to Whiskey
Yeah,
Myers.
shout
You
out to
guys
Whiskey
are
Myers.
awesome. You guys are awesome.
Sponsor us. But
For real.
but yeah, no, as much as I kind of shit on him for him not deserving that championship, he's just a cool dude. I mean, I
Yeah.
think he's, like you said, he's very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
So I like him as a person.
Yeah, so to move on from that, this is the last thing I got, I got 2 more things, but to play into his personality, He has some odd tattoos. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I know he's got a bunch of them.
He has several, but they're kind of obscure. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of. So he has a Star Wars tattoo.
Yeah, he's
on
a big
his-
Star Wars
Yeah,
guy.
he's a big Star Wars guy. He's got a Star Wars tattoo on his right leg, and then a sprint car.
His grandfather's sprint car. Isn't it
Yep.
like on his chest or something?
I think that one is kind of on his
Yeah.
chest, and then he's also got the number 10 on his chest in red. Apparently, that was the number that he preferred when he was a child growing up. Yeah, he ran the
Wow.
number 10.
Did not age well.
No, no, it did.
I have seen like a picture of him. It's gonna sound weird, but like I've seen a picture of him shirtless, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, like they have tattoos and they just look like regular people with
Yes.
tattoos. If that makes sense. But,
Yeah.
like, he is not a tattoo guy.
No.
Like it just looks so strange on him. But dude,
It's like he's too pale.
Yeah.
Even though he's not really pale, I don't know.
right. It's weird.
He's
But
in a fire suit all the time, which I don't think it helps him.
No,
he's
no,
he's
'cause-
not getting to the beach in the off season.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it does not stop him because he just keeps getting giant ass tattoos.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he's
Yeah.
like, I don't care if they look terrible, but it's so weird to me that he's just tatted up like that
I know, for no reason.
for no
really.
reason. Yeah. Like where did that come from? Because
I
his
don't know.
dad's not.
Maybe he just thought it was cool back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I figure he got these at least when he was a tad bit younger. Maybe like when he turned 20.
Yeah, but
you
I
know.
think he's still getting them. Like,
No, he
that's-
might be, but that just
yeah.
might be his thing. You
I
know,
know,
once you
that's what
get
I'm saying, it's
once you
weird.
get one, I get two or
Can't
three.
relate. No,
Yes, you can.
not to them being addicting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is weird. I feel like a lot of people don't know that.
No,
He has tattoos.
that's what I'm going to try to do maybe with this because I know you're really good at telling the old stories about these guys.
Yeah.
And to me, some of the drivers are so relevant. We don't really have that many great stories. So maybe if we can
Yeah.
pick
But there's
one
cool
obscure
stuff
thing.
about 'em.
Yeah, there is cool stuff about him.
Yeah.
It's finding it's the problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you're not finding anything but cool about Chase Elliott, dude.
No.
Yeah.
There's
That
nothing.
that guy don't have a cool bone in his body. But the last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you go. This is for our boy JD. So you better listen this week. I asked him, it's his favorite driver. I said, what do you want to say about Blaney? And he wanted to say he's a stud, and he will prevail at
Okay.
the end of the year. So
Okay. He is a good looking man.
yeah,
I'll say
yeah.
that. I'll say that. I feel like he doesn't capitalize on that.
No, he doesn't. Well, his girlfriend's.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's pretty good looking.
Yeah, and like as good looking as he is, still way out of his league.
Yes.
But if somebody's gonna do that, it would only be Blaney.
Yeah, it would.
And-
It would.
And I saw him on not on Full Speed.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the best personalities.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is just one random moment that stuck out to me, but it was kind of like one of those where it's like a TV show, so like they kind of stage them something to do,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're playing pool. Do you remember this?
Yes,
moment?
I do remember.
And he's like,
yeah.
and so he's playing pool, and he goes, "Yeah, watch me just make every ball or something, just
Yeah.
play, and just miscues it." Goes, "Fuck!" He's like, "You didn't see that."
Yeah.
But he just seems so genuine. That's
Yeah.
what I do like that about him for
Mhm.
sure. But okay, well, I'm gonna go with another Penske number 12
Ooh.
and
Okay.
another Ryan.
Let's go.
We're gonna do Ryan Rocket Man Newman.
Yes.
So he did drive the 12. I don't know if you remember that.
Barely. Like.
So it was the Mobile 112.
Yep.
With the big horse Pegasus
Mhm.
looking thing on the side. Really, really cool paint scheme. I'm trying to step away from saying iconic. I feel like I say that
you do say that a
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
But he was born December 8th, 1977 in South Bend, Indiana.
Ooh.
So
So a sprint guy.
midget guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
midget
so
guy,
Good,
okay.
good to catch on to that.
Yeah,
So he was a big.
I'm learning.
You're learning, yeah. So he was a big midget car guy. Won several midget championships in different series, including USAC, which is kind of the Mac Daddy of midget series. So won a lot. Just kind of got. And once again, this is back in the day where if you're really, really good at your discipline, you're going to get noticed. So
Yeah.
ends up getting picked up by Roger Penske and driving for them full time in 2002. I'm skipping a lot because and not really skipping a lot from the research I've done. It was kind of just that time where we're just gonna pluck you out of your dirt car and we're going to put you in a stock car
Let's go.
and sink or swim.
So he didn't go to truck. He went straight to Cup.
He did some ARCA and some Xfinity, but I mean his first, if I remember right, his first full-time season in any stock car was in Cup.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's
that does
crazy.
not happen today.
Does not happen anymore.
No.
So before 2002, let me go back a little bit. 2001 gets a mechanical engineering degree from Purdue. So, and we
I hate Purdue.
unrelated.
Go Vols.
Go Vols for sure. But so he gets an engineering degree from Purdue. So he's kind of like a little bit of the Alan Kulwicki, right?
Yeah.
Got that engineering degree.
Mhm.
Knows a lot about the cars. And has always been able to provide good feedback because of that. So 2002, he is a rookie, battling for Rookie of the Year with none other than Jimmy Johnson. Rookie of the Year 2002 was Ryan Newman.
He beat him.
He beat Jimmy Johnson.
No
Yes.
way.
Yes, isn't that so crazy?
Let's go the Rocket Man.
Yeah.
And that is where his life was the highest right there.
So I'll tell you where he peaked.
2002.
So he's got a total of 18 Cup wins. That's his whole career. So he spent 02 from 08 at Penske. In 2003, he won 8 times.
Whoa.
8 times. Do you want to guess where he finished in points?
Second. Third.
Sixth. Now remember, this is pre-chase, pre-playoffs.
But
everything.
still, if you're winning 8 races, you must have either won or pulled a Kyle Larson.
Checkers or wreckers.
Yeah.
So now checkers or wreckers, you can be Kyle Larson
And still win a
and
championship.
still win a championship. Or Denny. I mean, Denny's that way this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just wasn't very consistent. 8 wins. Yeah, 8 wins. 6th in
Whoa.
points.
That's so impressive, though. Like for
Just
that
to
guy.
win 8 times in your second full-time year. Now, granted, he had a really, really good car,
Mhm.
but you still got to drive it.
You do.
Especially back then. I mean, this is Jim Fuller, plumb sideways,
Oh, it's horrible.
all that power. They sucked to drive, which
Yep.
made him really cool to watch. So he stood there at Penske. He got a handful more wins, but really, the big thing about Ryan Newman, they call him Rocket Man. He was just amazing at qualifying. And this is back in the days where they'd tape him off, they'd be on edge, and you just like pucker your butthole up and you go lay 2 laps down.
Yeah.
And he was just amazing at it. Now, he had a good car, like I said
Mhm.
earlier, but still, he was just super brave. So at the end of his career, he had 18 Cup wins and 51 poles.
Whoa.
And I should have looked it up where that ranks all time, but 51 is a metric shit ton.
That is a lot.
So, and that's where he got the name Rocket Man, because he
Yeah.
was just so damn fast in qualifying.
That's insane. That's kind of like Joey Logano, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, like Joey's so good at qualifying on the pole.
Exactly. And it might be a Penske thing, too.
Yeah, it might
Now
be.
now that you say that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and it didn't really matter the track. I remember he laid down like an insane lap at Bristol. There's a video on that. Another cool video, when they still had the 4 speeds before we had the sequentials now,
Mhm.
they used to shift at Pocono. And that was the only, I'm sure they shift at Pocono now.
They shift everywhere now.
They shift everywhere
Yeah.
now. But the cool thing was back then, in that long straightaway, before you got into it, you'd go down into 3rd
Mhm.
and then bump it into 4th. And it was always that way. That's just what you did, just because
Okay.
the gearing matched up. Well, whatever Penske had done, or maybe this was Ryan in his head, he did not shift at a 3rd. And there's an in-car camera, and I wish I could remember the year. It's early to mid-2000s. He's turning like 9,600 RPM, whining this motherfucker out. And you can hear it, and this is back when the cars screamed, too.
Yeah.
So he's just, and they're in his in-car. I guess they had cued into it in the broadcast, and so they're like, okay, we're going to get in this car because surely he's going to shift. And they're just like, and here's where he's going to shift. Let it go.
Whoa.
And the engine didn't blow or anything. But so I don't know if that was kind of a Ryan thing where he's like, we can do it, or if it's just Penske. But either
Yeah.
way, just super cool moment.
I mean, dude, to rev limit your car for as long as they have to do it.
yeah,
that is
over and over and
oh,
over.
yeah.
Yeah, and all the broadcasters are like, that engine isn't going to make it. And it made it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
good on him.
Mhm.
So I don't have too much more about Ryan. Trying to make it a little short and sweet. I will give you one fun fact.
Let's go.
So Purdue University has kind of disowned him in a way.
Because
Like, they
he's
don't
a
really claim
NASCAR
him.
guy.
he does not believe that we landed on the moon in 1969.
Let's go, dude! I just listened to a
Which,
podcast about it.
Which makes me like him anymore because
Yeah.
I tend to agree with Ryan Newman.
Dude, if you listen to the facts about it, it'll
That's
make
all
you
I'm
think.
That's all
It'll
I'm
make you
saying.
think.
Yeah. Why is the flag not moving? You know what I mean? Did
Oh,
they talk about that?
Yeah,
I
they
bet
talked
they
about
did.
everything.
Yeah. So I'm a big conspiracy guy. So I'm kind of with Ryan Newman on this. Honestly,
That's why they disowned him.
there was like an article, and I'm being very dramatic,
Yeah.
but there's kind of an article. I think they did make a statement.
No
Because
way.
I mean, he's a very prominent alumnus of Purdue, right?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't name any
No.
Purdue alumnus.
But like, imagine if Tennessee had a NASCAR. I mean, Tennessee has a women's wrestler, a WWE wrestler.
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're proud. They're so proud,
Proud
of
of
her.
it,
Like,
yeah.
imagine if we had a NASCAR driver, and
they
then-
probably wouldn't be proud of that.
and then they were like, and then the NASCAR driver's like, "Yeah, we totally didn't go to the moon." You have to make a statement, right?
Yeah.
And I think because Purdue's also a big aerospace school, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, big
So they're-
engineering school.
Yeah, big engineering school.
Mhm.
Definitely aerospace. And
Yeah.
so they're like, they probably had to be like, oh, we
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Side with you on this one.
No.
So they did make a statement about it, but he's not going to let that hold him down
Let's go.
because we didn't go to the moon in 1969. That's all I can say. There's more technology in this iPhone.
I know. We're not going into the moon landing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on our.
The only time it gets brought up is that for me is that family holidays, because I'm the crazy person that doesn't think we went to the moon,
You are crazy.
but we didn't. So
Hey.
I don't know.
Half your family was alive for the moon landing.
That's
So.
what my dad's like, I saw it on TV. I was like, you saw a studio.
Oh my God. Oh well, I got a podcast that you need to listen to. So,
I'll listen. I mean, if it's a conspiracy, I probably believe in it.
Dude,
But
it's-
we'll move on from
it's
that.
so good.
But yeah, Ryan Rocket Man Newman. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't even realize that's 2 12s, 2 Penske 12s,
Yep.
2 Ryans. So
Mhm.
we'll do episode 12, Ryan Newman, Ryan Blaney edition.
Yep.
So let's move right into the overview. So this week we decided to do B2B sponsorships. So I will say there's a lot that is considered B2B that probably doesn't piss us off as much.
Yes.
So if you look at the definition, anything not advertising to end users is considered B2B. So if you think about any company that is using a NASCAR sponsorship for executives, like to fly in executives or to fly in their customers, that's considered B2B.
Okay.
So that's where
Does B2B stand for anything?
business to business. Yep.
Thank
So
you.
we're going, yep, you got it. I know you knew what that is.
I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
maybe our listeners don't.
No,
so-
I know.
Okay.
But I didn't want our listeners to think that you didn't know. What that
Okay,
is.
yeah.
So I'll give you one that we're probably not too upset about. So the owner of JTG used to be an executive at Kroger.
Okay.
So he brought in Kroger. That's not necessarily B2B. That's relationship. But when you look at Ricky, when he runs a Hungry Jack's car, like
Mhm.
Hungry Jack's Pancakes or Tide or something like that, that's Kroger B2Bing the brands that they carry and pushing
makes
the. So
sense.
that's B2B.
I got you.
That's considered B2B. Once again, that is not the direction we're going to take this.
Mm-hmm.
Another weird B2B that I wanted to bring up, and this is just almost everything's B2B now, just especially in this corporate space.
Yes.
Austin Hill was looking for sponsorship to further his career, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his dad makes a lot of money, owns what I believe is a lumber company. So he's either has a sawmill or is moving lumber, or something to do with that, right? So his dad made a deal with a trucking company called Bennett and said, I will use Bennett specifically if you sponsor my son in his Xfinity ride.
Wow.
And so if you see Bennett on the side of Austin Hill, that is because his dad has made an agreement that he will use that company specifically if they fund. So when all these Xfinity kids, right, how much money do you bring? That's what they want to
Yep.
know. Austin Hill is now bringing money in the form of a B2B sponsorship on his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, if you look at a list of B2B sponsorships, that's one that will come up or it will classify. We're not really, I think that's bullshit personally, but we're not really mad at that in the way of what we're going to talk about. So I
No.
just kind of wanted to point that out. But
You're getting at that it's happening all over the
it's
sport.
happening all over.
In every series. And we didn't touch on the trucks, but there's
Yeah.
several in there too.
Yeah, because a
So-
lot of these you can. The kid that has Pilot Fine J, Sammy Smith.
Yep.
So dad owns a trucking company. They're going to use Pilot.
They're going to only buy Pilot fuel.
They fund him. That's
Yep.
B2B.
Mhm.
Now that's really just kids bringing money.
Yes.
But when you boil it down to the definition of B2B, it's B2B. So
Uh-huh.
Riley Herbst, his parents own Terrible Herbst gas stations out west.
Yep.
So they have a deal with Monster.
Mm-hmm.
We'll buy whatever the quota is. You want us to buy a Monster for our stores. Sponsor little baby Riley
Yep.
in the series. So I just want to make that distinction real quick before we get into what we really want to talk
Mhm.
about, which is kind of these owners using their businesses and their connections for B2B to fund their race teams. So kind of where did you want to go with on the B2B overview?
Yeah, so pretty much I wrote down that it's easy. It's easy, it's simple, but to me, you're cutting off an aspect of the sport that, and I'm trying to paraphrase this where it makes sense. You're cutting off a section, like when you have Busch Light on the car, people can relate to that.
Yeah.
Like you can go, hey, I either like Busch Light or I don't like Busch Light. When you have something like Ally on the side of the car, it's like, I don't really care about a bank, or it doesn't make you want to go get a checking account with.
Right.
So to me, you're missing that fan experience. Like Busch Light can come to the track and set up a booth, give away any type of merchandise they want, or do a raffle, which they do all the time, especially on Twitter. They do all that kind of stuff, but you don't ever see Ally at the races.
Yeah.
Like even at the Ally 400, which I've been to every single year, you're not seeing like an Ally booth. They're
Right.
promoting Ally Bank. Yes, they're there, but they're not like here sign up for a checking account,
Right.
or whatever they want to do. So to me, you're missing the stuff like even like Bass Pro or McDonald's. They do giveaways. They get fans involved to go to those places, and to me, that's what they're there to do. Like,
Yeah.
hey, if you support Bubba Wallace, I'm not saying you should eat at McDonald's all the time, but you might be more out to go to McDonald's.
You might be more inclined.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
So I will play devil's advocate here just because you said something
yeah,
that I think was very important. So you talked about Busch Light. Well, they do giveaways on Twitter and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I think if the value was there for a company like Busch to sponsor every single race of
Mhm.
Ross's, because what do they have? 10 races maybe?
yeah.
So
they
I
have
think
10.
in this day and age, there's a
But they also Busch Light's weird because they also sponsor the entire sport.
right.
So it is
They
different.
do, yeah, it's different. But I guess what I think, there's a couple things that have led to this, is if it was worth it for these companies to advertise to end users via NASCAR, I think they would be doing it. I think in this day and age, it's a niche sport still,
Yeah.
so keep that in mind. We can advertise on social media, get way more interaction.
Yeah.
Also take into account that the cost of NASCAR has gone up so much that the money that these teams need
Yep.
is so much.
That's the other thing I wrote
And
down.
we've also opened Pandora's box to where we can piecemeal sponsorships together. It's not like it used to be, where we would have Good Wrench 24/7
Mhm.
or whatever.
Yep.
Trying to think of another, like Budweiser,
Yep.
right? Dale Jr. had Budweiser every single week.
Every single week.
The money, the teams, the cost kept going up so much, the demand went down. Now we've learned we can piecemeal it together. We're so used to Noah Gragson, I feel like hasn't had the same scheme twice yet this year. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like it. Seems like that card's different every week.
It is different every week, but I do think some of the sponsors have, like, they're the same sponsor but a
Okay.
different scheme.
But
Don't quote me on that,
but I guess my point to that is we're ingrained to that now.
Yes.
There's no identity.
There is
It's
no
just
identity.
we can make the car look
The only person that has
Definitely.
identity is this guy right here.
which is B2B.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm trying to go, I guess. So we've now accustomed people to we can change the sponsor and the scheme every week because we're just going to piecemeal sponsors together just to make it happen. So it's a double-edged sword. I don't know who's to blame. It is lazy, but yeah, you brought up Hendrick. Every single one of their sponsors, their main sponsors, except for Hooters. And then Liberty,
Yeah.
which William Bryant.
That's
Byron,
kind of a B2B.
See, I don't know if you could call that a. So his dad, William Byron's dad, is like the president of Liberty.
Yeah.
So I think that's just kind of like a.
He just has the money.
They just have the money, and Liberty obviously has the money, because that's where all the rich people go.
But isn't it kind of crazy though? Like, I don't know really anything about Liberty, but
Oh, dude, that's where the rich Christian kids go.
no, I know, I understand. So,
Yeah.
like, isn't it kind of weird that they sponsor a sport like NASCAR?
Super weird. Yeah.
Like to me, the president still I know it's a private university still, but I feel like he has a board that he has to bring this up to. Like he can't.
It's politics, I'm sure.
Wow.
It's got to be, because I don't know what the B2B on that would be.
I mean, you're right, but it seems on his dad's end. Like, how is he getting it through their process to be like, hey, you know what?
Knowing Liberty,
you know what would be
you
a good fund for our money. You know, we want more Christian kids to come to our school. Let's target NASCAR
Yeah.
as. I mean, I don't know where else they advertise.
Knowing Liberty, he probably has like some dirt on some other people that are just saying.
Okay.
it's a shady university with a lot of bullshit going on. But yeah, all of Hendrick's are B2B. So you look at HendrickCars.com. Obviously, that's we're taking money from Rick Hendrick's right pocket. We're putting it in his left pocket,
yeah.
right? Ally, every car that comes through Rick Hendrick Chevrolet, which he's the biggest GM dealer in America, whether that's his own Rick Hendrick City Chevrolet, all the ones he has with Dale Jr., he's co-owner. He has some with Boris Said. He's got his hand is in a lot of dealerships. So every GM car that comes through there is financed by Ally.
Yeah.
And Ally used to be GMAC. And if you ever go look at Brian Vicker's car, he was the 25 GMAC car.
Okay.
So William Byron is sponsored by Exalta.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look back in Exalta's history, they used to be DuPont.
Yep.
So who was on Jeff Gordon's car?
DuPont.
DuPont,
Yeah.
right? Napa, all the Hendrick Motorsports cars are getting, all the Hendrick dealerships get parts from Napa. HP is a new sponsor on William Byron. All the dealerships at Hendrick and the race teams use
printers.
HP, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't-
Computers,
Yeah,
printers,
computers, all that bullshit.
phone, you know.
Trying to think of other. They used to have Cincinnati CNC. That was another B2B. Lumar window films that Chase has.
Oh, yeah.
UniFirst.
Yep.
That's another one.
Yep.
So basically anything Rick Hendrick was using or needs to use at his dealerships,
Mm-hmm.
he is approaching these companies and saying, we will use you completely.
Yeah.
And they say, great, if you sponsor my race cars. And so they're securing the business of the largest GM dealership in the country
Yeah.
just simply by putting a logo on the car. Now, do they like their name being out there? I'm sure, but that's not what it's about at all.
No, it has nothing to do with
It
that.
has nothing to do with it. I mean, they're basically cutting a check to get a check back.
Yeah.
Is the way I see it. And that's kind of, like I said, that's the B2B we really want to focus on, because the
Yes.
other ones are somewhat okay, or it's just kids bringing money. But this is the B2B that we see now. Roger Penske, which this is Kevin Harvick, so they left RCR.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he owns Penske Rental, and he owns Freightliner dealerships too, called Premier. So all those dealerships use Shell Pennzoil.
Wow.
So that's a B2B. Now, do they like being on the car? Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
That, to me, that's a cherry on top of the B2B Sunday, right? Because they got what they wanted when they secured that business with billionaire Roger Penske.
Yes.
So we see a lot of it. And just kind of what I think, just real quick, and I'll get your opinion. I think with the current model and the rising costs and how Fortune 500 companies don't see a value marketing to end users via NASCAR, I think that's how it has to go. But then the more that model stays that way and it's not sustainable, the sport is only going to be ran by billionaires that have companies, billionaires that are racing for fun. Not necessarily that you could ever make money racing or that it wasn't expensive to begin with, but you shouldn't have. There's a middle ground between someone like me and you that could own a cup team and make money.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
Never.
But you shouldn't have to be Roger Penske or Rick Hendrick either.
No.
There should be something in between.
No. It should definitely be maybe Mark Cuban's not a good example, but he got into the Mavericks when he was really young.
Right.
And kind of built them to what they are now, sold half of it. To me, that was a moneymaker, but so my question for you is, B2B is where we're trending. Is there anything that we can do to turn that down other than make it cheaper to get into the sport?
I think
what can the sport do to attract? And it maybe not be the sport itself, but Rick Hendrick, if you have Apple come to you and be like, hey, we want to sponsor a cup car, he's probably going to go, I don't need you, And so, granted, he is not missing out on that money, but Apple is, and like you said, it's not to the user. It's not trickle down anymore. They're not coming to NASCAR to be like, use more iPhones or whatever it is. But to me, I think there could be a lot of cool sponsors or companies that would look good on a car. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just think we're past that point because of because of social media and all that. I mean, it's so much easier. There's TikTok people that I couldn't pick out of a crowd that can post a video and they'll get more views on a video than we get on the Daytona 500.
Oh, 100%.
Right? And it's also a different model where that video's there a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a one-off event. So I don't think it's a problem that I'm sure other sports are having this problem, maybe not to this scale, because they're already big, right? And they're already generating way more TV revenue, way more ticket revenue.
But the TV revenue, to me, from what we've heard, is not the problem.
Well, that's where we get into another problem where
it's not trickling down.
It's not trickling down. And Denny just said this to steal another podcast. He was on Dale Jr., and he said there's 3 people involved: NASCAR, the tracks, and the teams.
Yeah.
2 of those people are making 7-8-figure profits.
Teams ain't making nothing.
The other one is making 7 to 8-figure losses.
Wow.
So there's something going on there. But even if here's where I understand where he's coming from. But let's say we change the model and we give these teams 50% more money. They're still going to want the same money from sponsors, so they can go spend that money somewhere. That's not them offsetting costs. They'll always just find another way to spend money.
Yes.
So I don't know if that changes the model, because once again, does that bring teams in? It's not like they're going to say, oh, well, Busch Light now will ask for less money and you can sponsor more cars. They're never going to ask for less money.
No, and I understand that. Like, you have to have that model. But to me, that's the issue that we need to focus on with the sponsors, is the fact that it is not a profitable business for the teams.
Right.
Like again, you're probably right. It should never be to where this should be a business venture for you and me. We have a couple. We pull our money together. We have $1 million. We buy a charter. We turn it into $6 million. Maybe it'll never be like that. But to me, it should be something where you don't have to be a Hendrick and go, hey, we're gonna lose $3 million a year doing this, but we love doing it.
Yeah, but we love doing it.
Yeah. Because, like you said, that falls into where only those guys can do it.
Yeah.
It's
a billionaire's game.
It is a billionaire's game. And to me, I think the most fun comes from the guys that, of course, enjoy it, but that are so good at it and are like, hey, we can keep building on this. Like a Denny. Hey, we started with one car, we got another one, and now we want to get another one, 2 or get up to 4, and he has no incentive to keep going because he's just going to lose more and more money.
Yeah,
Like,
what's the point?
What's the point? If I can do the same thing with 2 cars instead of losing double what I would do for 4 cars and still be just as good,
Why not?
why not?
Yeah.
Just stay with 2 and cut your losses. That's what they're doing. They're cutting losses. And to me, to hear that the TV and the tracks are making most of the money, and I understand they have to make money. They do, but that's ridiculous.
It's
That's
ridiculous. I mean,
that could kill the sport.
Yeah.
If guys like Denny are in that area and all these like Wood Brothers, just these small teams, even Justin Marks, I know he's got a lot of money, but still, you do it for so long and you don't have success continually, and you're not successful elsewhere where you have to be, you're done. And we've seen that. We've talked about that with a lot of teams that have just dried
they
up.
just shut down.
They've just shut down.
Yeah. I think the simple, I think that's another overview we'll do is charters and
Yes.
kind of where that
100%.
model is going, and it all ties back into that. But I think the simple question to getting rid of B2B, because even the B2B we talked about, that is essentially these kids bringing money. Maybe they're taking up a spot for a kid that is better, but we'll never know because they didn't bring money. And now we've got, Hendrick and Penske and those other guys with their B2B. How do we get away from that? The simple answer with the simple solution with no answer is make the sport so cool
Yes.
that teams want to be here. And I don't know how we do that. I really don't. And I said it last week, it's a niche sport. I don't know if we'll ever be there. But, I mean, you look at F1, and they're so cool.
They are.
But you look at their ratings, and we beat the snot out of them every week. So how cool is that even?
We beat their TV ratings.
We beat their TV ratings
But
in America.
In
I
America,
know it's global.
Yeah, we don't beat them anywhere else.
Yeah, we don't beat
here.
them anywhere else.
No.
But like, to me at least, it seems like that. If you went up to a stranger and was like, "Which is cooler, F1 or NASCAR?" They're gonna say F1.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
So like
Even
that-
here, probably.
even here,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So I
Yeah.
feel like that to a Fortune 500 company would be like, well, if we had to advertise to an end user, not a business, we would pick that one,
Yes.
not NASCAR.
Uh-huh.
So I think like I said, the simple solution with no answer is make the sport so cool and so desirable
Yeah.
that they want to advertise to the people in the stands,
Yeah.
not the businesses and not the owners.
Yeah. Like businesses would kill to be on an NFL jersey.
Yeah,
They would.
but why not
Yeah.
NASCAR?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And because it's not the same.
it's
You
not
know?
the same, and I don't think.
And I
we'll
would
ever-
love to, and I didn't do any research on this, but I would love to see what the NFL structure is between, of course, the team. And I know their structure's a tad bit different, as like the dude that owns the team kind of owns part of the stadium normally, is like co-owned with the city normally.
Right.
But the sad thing is they're different. Like the whole city, with the Packers, the whole city owns the team. So there's a CEO, but there's not really like,
Yeah,
he doesn't own it,
and that's what's shaking up a lot of this conversation. That we wouldn't be having this conversation if 2311 didn't come in
No, we wouldn't.
with their guys that are sports executives that are
Mhm.
like, hey, I don't know if you realize this, but this is the only place this bullshit happens.
Yes.
And we're not going to stand for it
Mm-mm.
because you need us more than we need you. Michael Jordan can pick up tomorrow and get out of NASCAR, and he will still be a billionaire.
Yeah.
But you need people like Michael Jordan in NASCAR to make it cool, to where where
Mhm.
businesses want to advertise to end users.
Yeah.
So that's where it bleeds back into charters, to where I think they need to realize what they've got.
Yes.
Because I think we're on the cusp of it being cool enough.
Mhm.
We're not NFL or NBA, but being cool enough to where these companies could sponsor to end users.
I think there should be more of a buzz. You say that we're not cool, but to me, the only time I watch the NBA personally, not the NFL, football's different, but the only time that I watch the NBA is during the playoffs. when
Yeah.
everything's ratcheted up and everyone's competing their best. Because I know you may not know that much about the NBA, but LeBron James doesn't play half the games.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but there's a lot. They sit. A lot of the stars sit a lot of the games to wait to the playoffs.
So
They
get
pick and
injured.
choose. They pick and choose. Like, hey, we need to win tonight. So LeBron, especially the Lakers, LeBron, AD, you need to play. You know, they're not hurt now. Anthony Davis is a different story. Not to get off topic, but like, to me, why are we not marketing on TNT on a Thursday night in a playoff game? Be like, hey, we got a race on Sunday. There might be basketball on, but it'd be cool if you flipped over. You know, like, and what I'm talking about is like when the playoffs, when you
Yeah.
know that there's gonna be good racing.
So do you think the format, as someone who watches a lot of other sports, do you think our format and our length of playoffs is conducive to people tuning in just for the playoffs?
yes,
I mean,
100%.
10 weeks seems longer than.
Yes, but if you think about it, the way the NBA does it, they're playing 7-game series. So
Okay.
if you're tuning in to the NBA, yes, it may only take. I mean, the series could last a week and a half if they go to 7 games because they play on Monday night, they're off Tuesday night, then they play Wednesday night. And if you get to a 7-game series, best of 7, you're playing for a hot minute, you know? And if you're tuning in for pretty much every game, it's long. You know, your hours are the same. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we do 10 hours, but our race is only 3 hours.
Right.
Where
yeah.
you're watching 3 hours of basketball 4 times that week.
But they can, and I know like MLB playoffs, that's pretty much just the month of October.
Yes.
And then NFL playoffs.
The NFL playoffs starts in mid-January and runs to February.
Yeah.
It's
So
quick.
I guess I'm saying even though they probably have way more TV time
Yes.
because of the games and everything, we have 10 weeks. Like how do we captivate? And I'm not saying we should make the playoffs. I wish we didn't have playoffs at all, but I'm just saying that seems like such a long time and such a waiting period that how do you captivate an audience for that for 10 weeks? How do you say it's playoffs time and then it's been 2.5 months?
Yeah.
I mean, what
I see what you're saying.
It's
It's
a third of the season.
That's tough. Yes.
That-
I don't really have an answer for you off the top of my head.
I guess that's where I'm just saying, like, I get trying to, and I'll tie this back into B2B since that's what we're talking about, but I get trying to be like other sports, so we get that sponsorship where they
Mhm.
advertise the end users, but I mean, our playoffs are 2.5 months.
They're long.
So I mean, if you're advertising playoffs and it's 2.5 months, I mean, the casual person can't just tune in. Where I can tune into like you said, I can tune into a week of NBA playoffs
Yeah.
and be pretty up to date with what's going on.
I mean, you
If I
got
tune into a week of NASCAR playoffs, I see 1/10 of the whole playoffs.
I mean, the NBA Finals is not till June, and it started in the end of April.
Okay, so maybe that's a
And like I said, I don't, not off the top of my head, I don't know how many play. There's 8 seeds, so there's 16 teams in the playoff, and they all play best of 7 every single time. It's not like you play best of 7 the first round, but you play best of 7 the whole way through.
right.
So you're getting a ton. I mean, for literally a month and a half, you're getting basketball every single night. So yes,
Well,
like
then
you said,
well,
the TV,
if it goes that long, maybe that's why 2311 is so good at these negotiations, because it sounds like that's a similar model as
Yeah.
far as length.
yeah.
So maybe whatever they're doing, we need to do.
I think MJ is missing out on a fan base that he could get if he would market to the NBA. They
Yeah.
love him.
So why
I've been
why
watching
doesn't
the
he?
NBA. I've not seen a MJ commercial for 2311.
Right.
I mean, you could, and you could do it with his brand. You could literally do just a Jordan commercial and put Tyler Reddick in it, or
but
Bubba.
But do you think when you approach Michael Jordan and say we need to have an Air Jordan commercial, he says why? He's
He
made
probably
a,
does
he's
say
made, he's made $1 billion just off putting the Jumpman on a pair of tennis
I know,
shoes.
but on the opposite of that, he wouldn't care. It's money, and it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already spending a ton of money. What's $1 million to be through the NBA playoffs?
Yeah. No, it's true.
I mean,
Yeah. Well,
cares?
we might have dove in a little bit to.
yeah, we're
No. I'm saying it good. Where
Yeah.
we're putting it all on NASCAR. Maybe there's stuff these teams could be doing.
yeah.
Instead of taking the lazy way out, like you said, maybe there's more the teams could be doing too.
Yeah.
And I think just to tie it up, the responsibility of the growth of the sport is not solely on NASCAR; it's on
No.
the teams too.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be in the sport, that's a responsibility you have.
Yes.
So, okay, well we'll close that up unless you
Yeah,
have
that's
anything
good
else.
with me, man.
No, I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
So I think we got in the weeds, but
Mhm.
it was the good weeds.
Yeah, it
For
was
sure.
good weeds.
But all right, well let's recap Dover. We spoke a little bit about this earlier, but we'll dive in with our good race rating. What number did you give it?
I gave it a 4.9.
Okay, which
You're
I
mad
think
about
is
that.
I just think that's ridiculously low. But I'd love to hear why.
I just hate the one lane.
Okay,
Like this.
you ever watched a Dover race before?
I have, yeah, but
Okay.
I just feel like the tires meant more in past races. Not the next gen car specifically, but of course the Gen 6 car. That you could have comers and goers, and to me that's the fun of the short track racing. Even though the dominant line is still the bottom, of the fact that hey, you ran faster lap times for 30 laps, now you ain't got nothing left. And to me, used up race cars are the most fun to watch, of when you can try to hang on to it and make time, and you're just reeling somebody in. And to me, that kind of leads into what Larson did, was kind of reeling in Denny, or just giving it all he had. And, good, bad, or indifferent, air blocking's a thing. To me, it's kind of always really been a thing of taking the air away from the other car, because I feel like we used to see that all the time.
Yeah, I
but-
mean, Joey beat Kevin at, I think it was Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas
Might
doing
be
the
same thing.
Same thing.
In Gen 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think there
and
was-
that got off to what you asked, but to me that's
No,
why I
that's
gave
fine.
it to a low rating, is that the part that makes the short tracks the best are the tires, and I feel like the tires still don't matter enough. We're
Yeah.
still in between. We're still not Bristol. We don't want to be Bristol, and I can't stress that enough. That was rough. That was rough to watch. You don't want to see teams popping tires after 20 laps, especially at Bristol. But you want to see to where when you're out 50 laps, you can't run as quick as you were. Because, I mean, they even talked about it. When Corey stayed out there for forever, he was literally running the same lap times after 15 laps of the leaders.
Yeah.
I mean, he was leading, but of the dudes that pitted, it equals out too quick.
Yeah.
They should be able, and granted they were catching him, but I also think that's literally due to they have better cars.
Right.
because-
yeah, it's
because
still
it-
not a good car.
Yeah, because again, you can only trust what Fox said, but at some points they said that Corey is literally 2/10 off of what and he'd been out there for 60 laps.
Yeah. Which
Come
is
on.
unreal.
That's
Yeah.
that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's why I gave it such a low rating.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that the tires should matter more. The only reason I think that's low, I think you could, and this is true for pretty much everywhere we go now, you could have a better race in a previous generation car, but the majority of races in the previous generation car were just as good as we have now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
that
like,
makes sense.
So I feel like with the car we have now, we get the average race,
Mm-hmm.
but we have no chance of it being that above average race.
Yeah, but we
So-
don't have a chance. We've gotten rid of the below average races where people would win by 19 seconds.
Right. We've gotten rid
Yes,
of those.
we've gotten
so,
rid of those.
So now the way I compare it, because I can pull you Gen 6 races at Dover that were terrible,
Mm-hmm.
or just like ho-hum
Mhm.
regular. And then I can pull you like one or two Dover races in Gen 6 that were like really amazing.
Yeah.
So now we've gone to the next gen, I think the amazing is gone
Mm-hmm.
at a place like Dover, but we'll always get like a ho-hum, okay,
We'll
whatever.
just be average.
We'll just be average, right? We're just going to have a NASCAR race. So I gave it a 7-1
Okay.
just because, like, I think that was just, I didn't have any high expectations at all. I was excited at the end.
Yes,
Just to see.
I'll say that the finish was good. I
finish
thought it
was
was
good.
very good.
And but me and you were talking when it happened. We were watching together. We were like, Larson's going to get like 2/10 away, and just,
Yeah, he's not
he
gonna be able to do
he
anything.
can't do anything.
No.
And I think ever since they learned aero blocking was a thing, that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah. Thank you,
But-
Ross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean, Ross
and
pioneer.
Joey.
Joey pioneer.
So now, what if was Denny saving a little bit and Larson was just pushing? Probably,
Mm-hmm.
and that's probably why it happened towards the end, right?
Yeah.
Because Denny's laying back. He's going to save as much as he can. There might be a late race restart. You may as well save your tires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kyle Larson can't bank on that, so he has to push.
He has
push,
to
push.
go. He has to go.
And then once he gets there, that's when Denny can turn it back on.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit. I think that's part of the game. You know what I mean? That's a little bit of driver skill too.
Mhm.
Because let's just say you can't pass in this car very well, right? You definitely can pass through the field. It feels like where we're getting gypped is the battles for the win because of this aero blocking thing, right?
Mhm.
Let's just say pit strategy happens, yada yada. Carson Hocevar is first, and Kyle Larson second. Carson Hocevar doesn't have that finesse yet, right, or that experience to save while Kyle's running,
Mm-hmm.
and you probably have like a crazy battle for the win.
Yeah.
But we have two veterans in a car that's doesn't necessarily give out or wear out like you were talking about earlier. So you just have two guys that are really good at their job in really
Yeah.
good cars. It's kind of just what we're gonna get,
Yeah.
and it sucks. Like I'm not saying we should like settle for that. We should definitely wish it was more,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have to take a step back and realize it's just two really really good drivers
Yes.
who have been good all year in the best cars.
Yeah, and you hit on it to me, and I don't think it's old news that we've said it for years and years before we even got this car. It's different to get to someone's bumper. You can get to someone's bumper, but to pass him is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
I mean, we used to see that with Ryan Newman literally being the hardest dude to pass. He didn't even race in the next gen car. Like
Right.
you would have, he would be running 15th, and you go to lap him, and you get stuck behind him.
yeah,
You know, so that's that aero blocking thing. It's not new. That's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
hated to see on Twitter this week was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do about the air blocking? And I think you said it perfectly. We've always had this problem.
yeah.
This
Now
car-
we
this car
just don't have
has-
etiquette,
Exactly.
which is fine.
Yeah,
I don't want etiquette.
I don't either. Let them race.
Yeah.
Let them race. However you want to race. And like you said, Larson cannot bank that there's going to be a caution. He has to go and go and go. And when you're Denny, you're just running. You're just
Yeah.
running. Your spotters go, hey, he's 2 seconds. You run 10 more laps. Hey, he's a second and a half. You run 5 more. Hey, he's a second. You're like, okay, I might go a little bit now. You
Yeah.
know, is he running high? He's running high. I'm gonna go to the top. You know, so
Yeah, and someone like Denny's probably like, give me lap times,
yes.
give me his lap times,
Mhm.
and he's got a number in his head where he says, okay, now it's go time.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
and you have to me, that's what makes it hard. Is the casual fan is not going to know that, but like you have to appreciate the racecraft in that.
That's where the media fails
Agree,
you.
agree,
100%. Mike Joy and Clint and again Kevin. To me, Kevin can't do any wrong, but
I think he's brought a lot to
feeding-
that broadcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he has, but it's not marked or they don't talk about it that way. They're missing that. Like
Mhm.
Clint's just like, oh, he's running faster laps. Why is he
Yeah.
running faster laps? Explain
Yeah,
that more.
that's when you need to come on and say we've got a huge game of cat and mouse going on right
yes,
now, and then dive into that.
Yeah.
And I mean, make it exciting to the fan.
100%.
If you explain that story to the fan and you're like, Kyle's getting close, well now Denny's going faster, but
Mhm.
Denny was saving all along. Explain that because I feel, and I've always felt this way, that they treat fans like they're idiots.
They do.
And I think you should take the approach of treat everybody like a hardcore fan. And I think that's what F1 does.
Yeah.
And then when you don't understand it, I think, in my opinion, that gives people, it doesn't give the people the impression of, oh, I don't understand this, I'm going to turn it off. It's like, well, how can I be a part of this club that understands?
Yes.
I need to be one of the cool people that understands.
And I don't mind dumbing it down. Like when we said B2B, you can say it one time. That's business to business sponsors or, whatever they're talking about. But, dude, I don't have to see the cutaway Camry Toyota every time they're talking about the suspension,
Right, yeah.
Like, maybe, it is cool that first couple times, but they go back to the same thing every time. Show me something different on that car. Like, dude, we know what the diffuser's doing, okay? We know what the suspension is. We, they go to that every time.
Yeah.
Go to something that we haven't seen every week.
Yeah.
Like,
treat me like I've been here.
yes, exactly.
Is the biggest thing, really.
Yeah, that's what Fox should do this entire time. It should be like a crash course.
Yeah.
To like, hey, by week 5, if you've stayed with us, you're gonna know this, and then we're gonna kind of call the races differently.
We're gonna bring you along. Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna bring you along, and we're just gonna get more in depth. If you don't understand, look it up.
Yeah, or go back.
Or
stay with us next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how it should be too, because I think that's just my opinion of how people react to things. I think if you do that, instead of people being like, "Oh, I don't understand this," they're gonna be like, "Oh no, I need to understand this.
Yeah.
I have to be a part of this cool kids club of knowing what they're talking about." So, what else? I feel like we've kind of touched on it all. JGR and HMS are.
Yeah.
Isn't that so funny? We've created a car for parody, and it's exactly the way it was before.
Yeah, except without one Ford team. There's normally one Ford team that's
decent.
Decent.
Yeah. Is it time to panic for them?
Yes. I
but
mean,
what do you do?
I have no idea what
Because
you do.
here's what's going to happen. Joey's going to win some obscure race, and then he's going to win a race in the round of 8, and he's going to make it to the round of 4, and then he's going to win Phoenix, and then he's going to win the championship.
Yeah, I know, but even if a Ford driver wins the championship, you cannot tell me that they had a successful year.
I can say that for 22 and 23. They've been off the whole next gen.
Oh, I know.
That's
what I'm
off.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not surprised by this at all.
I'm not surprised. I'm with you. I'm not surprised either. I'm surprised at the fact that they don't care, and it's hard to care because you keep winning championships.
Right. So what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Just
me,
game the system.
Yes.
And they could be sandbagging.
They could be.
I don't know. I feel like RFK isn't, because they're
out there.
Brad's trying his ass off.
Yeah, he just wants to win.
But I don't think Penske's hitting the panic button.
No.
I think they know something that they're going to bring out probably mid-year.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, around the time NBC...
I just feel like, yeah, they might be sandbagging, but at the same time, if they're better, they want to win.
Not in this format. You've already learned that you don't have to do that.
I don't know, dude.
What pays more, championships or
championships pay more?
I mean,
no, you're right. It's just weird to see
I
that.
think by the time NBC takes over, Penske cars start winning, at least doing better, but maybe winning. That's my timeline. If Penske cars aren't running top 5 by then I'll be like, okay, I was wrong. Shit has gone wrong.
Yeah.
But until then...
But, I mean, we've seen Fords up there. They just can't sustain to the end of the race. I mean, they qualified decent. I mean, Noah this week was in... Didn't he qualify 5th or 4th?
Yeah, I mean,
so did Chase Briscoe up there in the top 10. Blaney, same way. It's like the only guy that sticks around is Blaney. By the end of the race, the only Ford that's really there is Blaney. So it's what are they doing? Is it the car or the teams? To me, can I have one of those?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, sorry. I was like, you have the beer.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Maybe they're hitting the panic button, but I feel like they've got something up their sleeve.
You're probably right. I mean, we called it at the very beginning of the year. You can go back and look. Joey's winning the championship.
He has to.
He has to.
He has to.
So
It'll come out of nowhere. It has to come out of nowhere.
But
If NBC, let's say, I'm just gonna say it right now, just so I have like a little bit of something to come back on. Like 3-4 weeks into NBC's coverage, if Fords aren't running top 5 weekly, then I'll be like, okay, there's something going on.
yes,
There's something to address.
yes.
But right now, I'm not worried.
No, that's fair. Like you said, I don't think those teams are hitting the panic button. But to me, every week, JGR and Hendrick just gets stronger. And
Yeah.
it's hard to deny. You cannot, to me, until I see it from one of them, I don't care about them. Go on somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I'm with you.
I'm
Yeah.
picking a Chevy or a Toyota. That's how it's going to go.
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
And until they prove me wrong, I'm going to keep riding it. So.
Yeah. All right, we'll go into standouts. Corey and Carson. Corey got one back.
He got him.
So he wouldn't have, even though he led all those laps,
Yep.
because he was staying out for
Yep.
no
TV
reason.
time.
Yeah, TV time.
TV
Yeah,
time.
he wanted that number 7
Yes, he did.
up there on the pylon.
Mhm.
Carson got a speeding penalty, if I remember right. So he finished right behind Corey, like pretty much on his bumper. He was 2 laps down. Corey was 1.
Yeah.
So Corey was the last car 1 lap down.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact Carson would have been ahead of him had he not got that speeding penalty. So
But
Corey's stolen one, but we're calling it like it is.
we're calling it like it is. But we also Carson's had a couple of those. For being honest,
Well, and we've said it many times. The only thing that can stop Carson is Carson.
it's Carson, and he got him.
He got himself.
But I will say, what are we? 12 weeks in?
It should be 11.
11 weeks
'Cause
in?
I've got it
12.
4 to 7.
7. Yeah, 11.
Yeah.
So we're 11 weeks in. For him to have his first penalty that cost him something, to me that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
pretty good.
He hasn't pissed him. Well, I'm sure he's pissed people off.
Oh,
we,
yeah,
we just
but-
don't hear about it.
I mean,
But
no, we saw it. I don't know if you remember, but him sending it in there 3 wide.
Yes, he did do that.
2 times that we saw 3 wide all day.
Yeah. was
Hugo
him.
Carson's a weapon. Here he
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
I mean, out of nowhere, 2 cars are battling. I don't even remember who they were battling, but I remember
don't
seeing
either.
that 77 just out of nowhere.
With not a care in the world.
Not a care. He's like, I get 2 positions right here.
Which makes me wonder, I mean, there's got to be, at some point, that's got to be bowling over for some of those guys back there.
That's got to
to
irritate somebody.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm sure he's doing it weekly.
Yes.
And we don't see it.
We don't see it.
At some point, you got to think he's going to get junked.
He needs to call Ross and ask him what
And
he
they're
needs
buddies.
to do. They are buddies.
Yeah, they are buddies.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Did you speaking of Ross and Carson, did you see the I don't even remember the guy, but I saw it on Instagram, and it was a guy asking what's your favorite beer to drivers, and they asked Carson, and Carson goes, well, I'd probably just go over to Ross's trailer, and I know he's got Busch Light Unlimited, so I would just grab one of his.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So I guess he's 21.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he
I
is.
didn't-
He
He
is.
looks
Yeah.
like he's 19. So
I think he
didn't know.
just turned 21.
Okay, good
Yeah.
for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, well, so 4 Corey, 7 Carson.
Yep.
I think next week there's no reason Carson shouldn't pile another one on because he's so good at mile and a halfs.
Yeah.
Larson and Denny show. I think we're gonna see a lot more of that.
Oh, yeah.
we've already seen.
We're gonna see it this week.
Yeah. Do you think? I have to ask. Is it Denny's year?
I hope so, for his sake.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, he's putting it all out there. He wants to win, and like you said, though, dude, for some odd reason, he does not put together the playoff run that we need.
Yeah.
Like he needs to. To me, he puts on a perfect regular season. He's literally there's a oh my gosh, I lost my whole train of thought. I'm so sorry. There's a football team that reminds me of this, and it ain't the Patriots, where they can have these great times and then they just do it again in the playoffs. It's almost like he's like that. He has such a good regular season run. He just doesn't know what to do in the playoffs. He shoots himself in the foot. We talked about Carson being his biggest problem is Carson. Denny's biggest problem is his team in the playoffs. It's his pit crew. It's him. I don't know, making certain calls on certain times. They just put themselves in bad spots in particularly the round of 12 or the round of 8. They cannot get through that to where Denny's going in, and I know he's qualified for the Final Four, but to me that's where they have their worst series. Like he'll finish out of the round of 8, he'll finish 15th a couple times.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and even if he makes the Final Four, he has no momentum.
he has exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he may, put together a good round of 16 and get to the round of 12 and just be mediocre again. And it's like, yes, you have to put it together. You don't have to win, but you need to be doing exactly what you're doing right now, and that's the favorite to practically win every week. And to me, every time they get to that 10-week playoff, they lose it. They lose it.
Statistically, so far, this is his best season in years.
Yeah.
I mean, to have this many wins and these good of finishes, he's had some DNFs for sure, but it feels a little bit different because, I mean, I think he only had 2 or 3 wins last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's had a couple just 2-win seasons, just a 1-win season, but he's got 3 early.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
does. At the tracks that he should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like
I mean,
the ones he's good at, and he's practically good everywhere. But
yeah. And we're only going to keep going to them. We're
Yeah.
going to go to them again.
yeah,
And then this week, Kansas, I mean, he's great there.
Yep.
He just won there last year. So it's just, you got to think we're a third of the way in. He's won 3 times. Ideally, he should win 4 or 5 more times. I mean, just if you look at how the stats and how it should go, I mean, he's possibly sitting on a 6-7 win season.
he is.
Which is absurd.
That is
I mean,
absurd.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time.
Unless
since
this guy gets in the way.
maybe,
Yeah.
but I mean, he can't finish for some reason.
Yeah. He's got to put himself in, and we're talking about Larson. Larson's got to put himself in better spots earlier in the race.
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't have lost the lead on that restart like he did.
Yeah.
And he talked about it in his post-race interview.
Yeah.
But he can't give that up in the spot he did because he knows what's coming. Like if you switch that around, Denny's probably not getting around Larson.
No,
Like if he puts up a bigger fight, literally he got the lead, and then they had the caution, but Denny had got it and he controlled the restart. Like don't give that up. Like literally, I don't know what it takes, but fight a little bit harder earlier.
I mean, fucking door him.
Yeah,
If you have to.
If you have to.
If
And you can't tell me Denny don't have it coming. For
exactly.
Larson wise, he's got it.
And dirty air doesn't matter when you're bumping fenders.
No.
So
Yeah.
you just got to do it. It'll
Yep.
be interesting. I mean, they're going to play that clip
Mm-hmm.
of those two
Yep.
all week.
All
so
week.
it'll probably come down to those two.
It probably will.
We'll see how it goes. Let's get into. We kind of did predictions a little bit there, but we'll get into your bets. How did we fare?
We lost.
Okay.
Yeah, we lost. We lost all 3.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, that was tough.
The
Last lap
funniest
pass
part-
on my boy
yeah,
I'm
the funniest
literally
part
there.
was we're watching a battle for the lead, and Spencer's just watching the ticker going, "Oh, he's 10th! No!" And who ended up getting 10th?
Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick.
I think
he's
so.
like,
Yeah.
No, Reddick.
Yeah.
Yes, Chastain.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a battle for the lead going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
And all you could focus on was 10th place on the ticker.
I know. 10th place has been good to me, and I was hoping it was good to me again, but Ross ended up finishing 11th, so that's what it is. I don't think I think Reddick
He
finished 11th.
12th, yeah, because the Reddick passed him out of turn
11th.
4.
I don't remember who he was battling for 10th, but
I thought it was Reddick. Or with Gibbs.
Ty
Gibbs, yeah.
Ty Gibbs, that's who it was. Yeah. And then Reddick got him
Reddick
on
passed
turn
him,
4.
yeah.
But
Made it even worse.
yeah, I'm literally they're watching like the last 10 laps, and all you can see is freaking Denny and Larson. I'm like, show me what's going on in 10th place.
I've got a
'cause-
bet on 10th place. Don't you know that?
Yeah, come on now. But so we're down 4.5 after that.
That's
But
not bad. We've been worse.
We've been way worse. We've almost gotten to 10. So we're gonna hopefully dig out of a little hole. So this week, my first one, full unit, Bubba top 10. Seems like a lock to
Easy,
me.
yeah.
He'd stay out of trouble. Don't get a speeding penalty. I think he's going to qualify decent. He's minus 180, so not a lot of value there. But to me, that's half a unit we can get back. A unit and a half that we can get back easy. So that one. And then I went back to a matchup. I've kind of went away from those the past 2 weeks. Dega being one of them. To me, you just couldn't pick a matchup in Dega. But Willie B versus Truex. Picked Willie B minus 116 full unit. I've been betting Willie B hard here lately, but I've bet him to win most of the time. I haven't bet a matchup, so I feel like this is a better matchup for him. Normally he's paired up with a Larson or a Denny, and that's no knock on Truex, but Truex is kind of in that boat of Larson where he just can't finish. He'll lead it.
What were Truex's odds? Do you remember?
Yeah, they were also minus. It
That's
was
what I
kind of weird.
figured.
Yeah, they were also
'Cause he's a
minus. on that.
Toyota, I would.
Yeah.
I would think
Mhm.
that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, I do think Willie B was like, I think he was minus 116, and I think Truex was like minus 110. So he's a tad bit more of a favorite, but barely. So if you look at the past 6 there, Willie B has had better finishes, average wise. He's higher, but we'll see. And then 2 more top 10s. So I got 2 units on those 2, 1 unit apiece. Going back to him, and this is why I asked you earlier about Texas and Kansas and how they compare. Carson Hocevar top 10.
Okay.
Calling it again. Taking my shot. He's been good to us. I think it's going to race a tad bit like that. I think it plays to his strength is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think he's just really good on 1.5 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is kind of that 1.5 miles. Even though they have a little bit more multiple lines, to me that works in his favor. Now that he doesn't just have to ride behind somebody and work
he
them
can
down.
throw it in 3 wide.
He
if
can throw it in
wants to.
3 wide and it'll stick and he'll pass. So he was only plus 430.
Really?
Yeah. So
they're on to him too.
They're kind of on to him, being better at 1.5 miles. So hopefully he qualifies well, and puts us in a spot where that number. I would love to see that number go down to like plus 220.
Yeah.
And that makes
we
me feel
got it.
good.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so good.
Get a little validated there.
And with the last one, and this is pretty much a straight value pick, Eric Jones, top 10.
Is he racing?
Oh, that's a good question.
Was he on there really?
He was on there. I didn't even think about
I
that.
don't think he's racing. I mean, he has a broken back.
Yeah, he does have a broken back.
Hold on, we'll look.
I
it up.
bet on
You
it.
go ahead. I'll look it up.
I'm really hoping that
They're not gonna. They'll give you. Your
They'll
money
give my
back.
money
Yeah,
back.
if he doesn't start.
surely,
I don't know. My name's not Shirley.
golly.
They probably haven't announced it yet, but I don't see how he could be back. It's probably too early. In the
I mean,
week.
they let me put money on him.
I'm sure they did, buddy.
They got me on that one. I wasn't even thinking.
15 hours ago, Bob Parker said, "No update yet on Eric Jones and whether he will race Kansas. Would expect it in the next day or 2."
Okay.
Which I mean, how in the world would he come back already?
I don't know. I'm with you. I wasn't even thinking.
Bowman broke his back. He was out for 7 weeks.
Hey,
Now, I mean, he broke the fuck out of his back in a sprint car, but
yeah. Hey, maybe Eric Jones is an animal.
is there different ways to break your back to where
Maybe
it's
so. We
Can
should
you
probably ask
break-
Brittany.
Can you break your back and 2 weeks later be in a race car?
Being good to go. I don't know.
I don't.
If you don't wreck, you're probably.
And
you
even
know.
if you are,
Yeah, that was probably not a smart pick. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I was that makes sense why his odds are so crazy now. But that would be the bet of a lifetime if it hits. And Eric Jones comes back after 2 weeks after breaking his back, and he finishes top 10 at Kansas. So. Yeah, plus 750. Eric Jones.
Why don't you? I think we got time here. Why don't you pull up the top 10s and maybe we'll find a different one.
Okay, we got time.
Because we've basically done our Kansas predictions, so we'll do this and we'll go straight into closing.
Okay.
That's hilarious. I can't believe you picked.
Hey, sometimes you make mistakes. Okay, you're looking at odds.
Hey,
You're looking at everybody. It was there. I wasn't even thinking. You know,
for all we know, he could be racing.
it could be.
There's not been an announcement made.
Yeah, and then when he finishes 8th, you're gonna look at me like, ha ha.
If he finishes it, he just said like 3 days ago that it hurts when he sneezes.
Hey, does it hurt when he's sitting down steering?
I mean, kind of drive off their ass a little bit. So I feel like you need to have your back in check.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Don't matter.
I would be interested to see what Ty Gibbs' top 10 is. That's what I was gonna say.
No,
Is it minus?
yeah, it's minus 180. It's like Bubba.
What's Blaney's top 10?
Minus 180.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well, what's Brad's?
I'm not betting on Brad.
Why?
Brad's lost us so much money.
This is where he turns it around.
No,
You know who
Brad.
you know who would lose this money? The guy with a broken back.
Brad. Brad is plus 130.
And what was Eric Jones?
Plus 750.
It's because he's in a hospital bed.
I mean, look at this though.
Is this
You
a
can't.
half-
You
you
can't
just-
tell me. You cannot tell me that Carson is not 10 times better than Corey LaJoy. Plus 430 for Carson. Plus
That's
1,000.
That's because so many people put. Wait, who's plus 1,000?
Corey LaJoy for a top 10.
Oh God.
You can't tell me there's. Yes, there is line movement, but in NASCAR, from what I've noticed,
Unless it's Chase.
and yeah, or I mean, to me, what I'm trying to say is NASCAR betting lines don't get enough money thrown in on them to really change the odds, like basketball or the NFL does.
Yeah.
Like when
But I will say
when these open on Wednesday on FanDuel. Like I tried to check them yesterday, they did not have them posted. They opened today, and this line will not change. Now it'll go down on Friday. They'll take it down, but they will not change until after qualifying. Then they'll change them. So to me, it's strictly based on some kind of simulation that they're running of the race and stuff like that. They're odds
Well,
guys.
I have heard them say that Chase's odds will go down because so many people put money on him.
No,
But he might be the only one.
I mean, maybe. But I
What's-
mean, how many people do we know? We know a lot. I know several gamblers, and none of them ever gamble on NASCAR.
yeah, it's true.
Unless
That's
they
true.
text me and they're like, "What do
Right.
you think?" And then they just kind of tell what I think.
Right.
So that's where I'm getting at. The lines via money aren't. That's not what's moving them significantly like they do in the NFL. Like if a
Yeah.
line comes out in the NFL and it's a -7, you could see that line get to -10. You know, you're not seeing
Just
that
from
in.
people putting money on it.
Yes, you're not seeing that in NASCAR.
What
but-
is Todd Gilliland's top 10?
Oh, he's way down here, I think. Plus 1,000.
That's not terrible.
He's back there with Harrison Burton, Daniel Hemrick, Corey
Is
LaJoy,
there any Toyota with plus odds?
John Hunter Nemechek, Jimmy.
Is Jimmy racing?
He says he is.
I
You
don't
can
think-
bet on
I
him.
don't think he's racing.
No. What's this week's race?
Kansas.
I know. What's the title of it? The Advent Health 400.
Probably. I don't know.
Okay. No, there is no other Toyota with plus odds.
What was John Hunter?
John Hunter was plus 1,000. No, plus 850. That's what we hit on Carson. Plus 850.
Well, Eric Jones was in the same car at plus 750. So
Yeah.
if you were going to make that bet, I'd just switch it
Switch
to
it
John
to
Hunter.
John Hunter.
But see, he's so terrible.
He is so bad.
God, I don't know why you had to do this.
I know. I mean, to me, like,
We got to find a half unit to put somewhere.
we do have to put. What did we. Oh my gosh. I don't like any. I mean, all these are Fords, and I just don't trust them.
What's Alex Bowman's top 10?
Minus 125. Yeah.
What's Kyle Larson's top 5?
Top 5.
Yeah.
His top. They don't have top 5s. They have top 3s.
What's his top 3?
Plus 105. I don't know. I think if I'm gonna take a top 3, I'm gonna go with Denny plus 110. A little bit more value there, and I think he's gonna be right there. Or to get wild, because I think Byron's gonna be good again, plus 200. But
What's Brad Keselowski top 3?
Brad K, he's plus 1,000, but I don't see him being I'm not doing that. No, This is my segment, and you're trying to influence with
in your segment. You put a top 10
with
bet
your
on,
non-knowledge.
on somebody who's in a neck brace. So
You know what we need to do to put our half unit. We probably need to go Toyota to win the race minus 120.
oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's easy money.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
do.
yeah. You should have done that to begin with.
I should have.
They've won every next gen race.
Yeah. Then
against-
literally, I'm going off that stat you said.
yeah.
So
Well, I didn't say that stat because I thought you'd bring it up in your bets.
well,
But instead
I
you
bet on a lot of Chevys. Okay.
and then you bet on Eric Jones.
Yeah.
The only Toyota bet you made was on a guy with a broken back.
Yeah. No, I bet on Bubba.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I did write it down.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hope this works. I can't. I thought you were fucking with me when you said that. I really did.
No, until you said it, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, he does. He is injured.
his back is broke.
Yeah, yeah. It's severed.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not. I know we're laughing, but it's not.
No, it's not us. All right, let's just go ahead and close. Do you have a stupid question this week?
I do not.
Okay, so I asked Brittany. We watch a lot of flow racing,
Yep.
and so those features are like 50, 60 laps.
Mhm.
And so they'll usually take, because there'll be cautions and everything, those usually take about 40, 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the whole events take 4 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is. So a lot of times we'll be busy. I'll come home and just watch the feature, or we'll just kind of like check into
Mm-hmm.
the heats, maybe the B main, but we're really just watching for the feature, unless it's a really big race. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about dirt racing, but caution laps do not count
Yes.
at any point.
Yeah.
So if there is a caution, they revert back to who led the last lap. There's no timing loops, right? So if you get, let's say me and you are racing, and you pass me, you're leading turn one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, you're leading at the start finish line. Going to turn one, you just like miss the corner. I pass you.
Yep.
I gap you by a straightaway. Turn 4, caution comes out. You're now the leader
Oh.
because you led the last lap.
Yeah.
Because there's no timing loops. And then once the caution comes out, let's say the guy in third has a flat tire. He can come in and pit in the middle. He's got his crew guys there, put a new tire on. Now he still has to go to the back, but the laps weren't counting, right?
Yeah.
So they could have went around 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
He's not 5 laps down.
Yeah.
He's just 10th.
That's
You know what I mean? It's just a different dynamic
Mhm.
because there could be a lot of cautions.
Yep.
These races at most are, you have the World 100, that's
Mhm.
100 laps, but still you can't count cautions in those either. So Brittany has always wondered, why do caution laps count in NASCAR?
That's a great question, Brittany.
Now,
And I've been so hard on them about how they do cautions because to me, they're robbing us of racing, of how they do it. So to me, yeah, I think that's such an easy fix.
I think you have to be careful with it. Now, if you think about it, after 2 laps to go, caution laps do not count
You're right.
because we have green, white checkers.
Yes.
But if you have a race with a bunch of cautions and caution laps don't count, we're going to be there forever. Here is my happy medium.
Make the races shorter.
No.
Oh.
10 to go, every single track everywhere. If there's a caution within 10 to go, caution laps do not count.
Okay.
That's my solution. That's my happy medium. The only place that gets wonky is road courses, where 10 laps, like Coda,
Oh God, yeah.
what is that, like 50 miles?
Yeah. Oh my.
So you might have to
gosh.
change it there.
But they change those anyway.
They change everything all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I mean, you can do whatever the fuck you want any week.
Yes.
And we would just be like, that's NASCAR. But
Yeah.
that's always something I would want to see. But see, it's hard because 10 laps at Bristol. At Bristol, I'd want it to be like 50 laps.
Yeah.
And then at Kansas this weekend, it'd be like 10 laps.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's why they don't do it. But I think it's too much to do it the whole race. There's races we would be there forever.
There is, yeah. Because I mean, when they bring the red flag out, it's normally for something pretty serious or something has happened, and we're normally sitting there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And,
Yeah.
you know, you have a wreck per se that you can't clean up in less than 20 minutes, and you're just stuck on lap 7, of a
Yeah.
400 lap race. You're like, whoa,
Yeah.
we're gonna be here a minute, because I mean they've got it to where the races last about 3.5 hours from start to finish,
And
most
that's
of the
with
time.
caution laps counting.
Yes, yeah. So you'd somehow have to figure out how to still get a 3.5 hour race, and maybe do something like that where cautions only, where they stop at a certain point.
And
They
you
stop
know,
counting.
And when we have stage breaks, those caution laps count
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would definitely change the dynamic, even if you just changed the stages to where they didn't count. Then
You'd have more racing.
you would have more racing. Do you change pit stops to where those are like almost non-competitive pit stops? And
I
then
mean,
the
basically
only
that's how they are in dirt racing.
racing,
You have to
yeah.
go to the back. But,
yeah,
I mean, they don't really have pit stops, right? I mean,
yeah,
they're
they
just-
don't. Yeah,
You
can-
have to. So this is funny. Side note: there's a big late model race the other night up in Delaware, not too far from Dover, and Larson ran in it.
Mhm.
It was Lucas Oil. So Lucas Oil series, pretty much any late model series, you can pit or come to the infield, right? And you
Mhm.
can get a new tire if your tire is flat or soft. And so Larson came in there on a caution and put a new tire on. Well, officials were over there. The tire they took off, they said, "That's not flat." I said, "Oh, well, it's soft. It's soft. He needs a new one." They said, "Put that shit back in the garage." Or not the garage, but,
Yeah.
like, take that shit back. You're disqualified. And they parked him.
Whoa.
Because they're like, this tire wasn't flat enough. And, like, dude, they don't care. I mean,
Wow.
talk about a series that calls it.
Yeah.
Like it. I mean, they put Kyle Larson back in his hauler in,
Yeah.
in the middle of the feature.
That's insane.
So, I don't know.
he was probably about to make that change and go lap everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing it for performance advantages.
Of course.
For sure. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's hard to compare the two. I see where she's coming from, but, I mean, we're talking, the race we watched the other night was like at a 3/8 of a mile. It was
Mhm.
50 laps. So, I mean, that's like 25 miles.
Yeah. Well, to me, you're not going to get more intense racing because you just don't have time. You can't pull a Denny and just go, hey, I've got a 3-second lead now. I'm just kind of ride around, And that's where they made it though. You have to ride around.
Yeah.
You have to survive. You have to get to the 10 laps to go to have a chance. You can't run everything and just be okay.
Yeah.
So
So it's kind of apples and oranges to compare it, but I do think like 10 to go, no caution.
that would be cool. That would be definitely really cool. I mean, because if you have, and we've seen it to where a dude has a flat or brushes the wall or something, gets a caution, 9 to go.
They run it all the
Maybe
way
they
out.
could go to the back and still probably not win, but they could make their day something.
Yeah.
They could still
But-
make up their day.
But also, that saves us, if it's 10 to go and we have a caution, they're not going to run it all the way down to a green, white, checkered.
Exactly.
And then we have at least 9 laps
Yes.
to play with, or 6
Yeah.
laps, or whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, at least we have more than 2.
Yeah.
Where the cars are still coming up to speed.
And I think the other interesting thing about that is the timing loop that you talked about that they don't have. I think that would be even a more cooler thing to
Yeah.
have. As far as maybe not finishes under yellow, but it's ridiculous that and I've seen the Fox guys break it down of NASCAR just kind of guesses at minimum speed. Like at Dega, when you have that big pile up at the front, there's when does the caution come out is the biggest thing, because they saw the white flag, so the next flag ends the race. If you call it right when Michael McDowell spins, Brad Keselowski wins the race.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things like the timing could change. He would have won that race in a dirt race per se
Yeah.
because
Well, in
Well,
a dirt, in
actually-
a dirt race, they would have won another lap.
lap,
Yeah, because that's the other thing about dirt race, and you see this a lot. There'll be a wreck on the last lap.
yeah,
They'll just run one lap,
they'll run another
and they're
one.
not doing it for drama.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing it for excitement. It's
Yeah.
because they have one lap left,
Yeah.
and they'll
Yeah.
run one lap.
Mm-hmm. That would be
I mean,
that's wild. Do that.
Yeah, it's what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty.
That seems so simple, you know.
because it is.
Yeah. So that's exactly what you're getting at. If you take away the cautions, you know,
You don't have green white checkers.
yeah, you don't have green white checkers.
Right. You just race.
You just race. There's 9 laps left.
Mind blowing concept here.
Yeah, it is.
You just race.
You just race. I'm with you. I would
Yeah.
love to see that. Get rid of the green white checkers and have
No
a
cautions
10
count.
lap shootout.
Yeah.
Really.
Or just say, after once there's 10 laps to go, if we have a caution, those laps will not count.
Yeah.
If we have a caution on lap with 5 to go, I don't care if we have to run 10 caution laps. When the green flag falls, there will be 5 to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not crazy.
That is not crazy. That's
It's
not crazy.
less crazy than a green white checkered, where our races go over the advertised distance
Mm-hmm. Every time.
every time.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
So I don't know. It's a pretty good stupid question.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brittany.
Yeah. Shout out to Brittany.
Maybe you can work on Eric Jones' back. Get him ready for this week because I need him.
Yeah. Then his odds would go down because he went and saw a chiropractor.
Chiropractors are legendary.
I know, that's what I'm saying. His odds
Okay.
would go down because
Oh, yeah, I see.
yeah. Shit. Do you have a favorite memory of Kansas?
When you asked me that, nothing came to mind. For being
Yeah,
honest.
I'm sure there's some old races that I'm forgetting, but kind of recency bias here. That was Kurt Busch's last win,
Yeah.
and Kurt Busch, I'm 99.9% sure on this, became the only person to ever win in a Ford, Dodge, Chevy, and Toyota
Wow.
with that win,
That's insane.
which is nuts.
That is
'cause
crazy.
You can't even win in a Dodge anymore.
No, you can't.
Not for a long time, not
Yeah.
since 2012. So I think that's a pretty crazy stat
It
that
is.
nobody ever talks about.
Yeah.
Um,
To me, that's Hall of Fame worthy.
Kurt Busch is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
He's
I
a
know,
champion.
but I understand. I'm just saying that's not stats you're saying in the Hall of Fame, but whatever.
Okay. Anyway, that's really the only memory I have. And then I don't even think he did it. I think he passed Larson, maybe.
I couldn't.
I don't know, man. It just wasn't anything terrible.
I remember Bubba went in there, but
Yeah,
I mean,
in the 45 cars
yeah.
the same year.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember he had that like cool Air Jordan scheme.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't remember.
No.
There's got to be some race where just
There does.
I mean, you should pick when Joey beat Kevin.
Kevin,
Is what
yeah.
you should pick.
I'm not picking that. He air blocked him the whole time, but whatever.
I mean, we just said that was talent.
In the freaky fast Jimmy John's car.
Was he in Jimmy John's
Yeah, he was
car?
in the Jimmy John's car. I just saw a highlight.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Was that 21?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was
No,
20.
it was 20.
20.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had won. He could have won 10 races that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
Alright.
one he needed.
Yeah, he did need that.
Yeah.
Because everybody talks about Kyle Larson winning 10 races in 21. Nobody talks about Kevin winning 9.
Nah,
in
nobody,
20.
no,
It's
no.
like everybody forgets.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
It was one win away.
Yeah.
It's like double-digit season. When's that been done? And I was
Yeah.
like, Kevin Harvick basically
Yeah.
did it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Didn't win a championship.
Didn't
that
make
year
the
either.
Final Four.
Didn't make the Final
Yeah.
Four. What a sad.
What a format, dude. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Blaney is my champion.
Tune into the playoffs. But, all right, well, where are you watching this week?
I don't know where I'm watching this week. I guess at my house. I guess we're gonna just chill.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. You get to watch it on a big TV.
Okay.
Tired of watching it on these small TVs.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I might come over. I don't know.
Yeah, come over, man.
Yeah.
We'll make some food or something. Make them sliders.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
that would be good.
All
I can help you move my whiskey shelf.
All right. Well, shout out to Spencer's neighbor. We'll finish that. We're probably about 5 episodes away from finishing that bottle. I don't know.
Yeah, we're getting closer.
We're getting closer.
Hey, this week I know we didn't say it. Are you good? You done?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
This week, question of the week: what does B2B mean?
Okay.
So that's
I thought you were gonna say, did we go to the moon or not?
No. We could make that
We
trivia
could,
question.
We could, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to say no.
No. What does B2B mean? So I hope you enjoyed that overview. That's kind of one we thought of pretty early on and kind of sat on it for a little bit. But I think that was good. I hope you got something from it. But again, guys, we really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Again, we're just in it because we'd like to do it.
Yeah.
We don't really care
if
if
good
it
time doing it.
Yeah, if it turns into something, it does. But we're gonna be here. We got it set up the way we want now. To me, our audio's about as good as we're gonna get it for the setup we got. But if you've been listening, it's been a long journey. If you've seen episode 1 and now you're seeing episode 12, we have we came from the Stone Age comparative now. So just thank you guys. We really appreciate it, and we're gonna keep on keeping on. Who knows? We may have episode 99, and we'll get to do one on Daniel Suarez. So
That's right.
you know,
We'll go all the way.
yeah,
So.
we get to triple digits. We'll be doing something like that. So we appreciate it. Awesome, thank you, buddy.
Yep. Thank you, Spence. Appreciate y'all for watching.
Yep. See y'all.